guys, so I just come to make a quick video, on certain perspectives that some people may have, and just for persons to understand what is more important when it comes to your relationship with the Lord, right? So I know currently we are in the Easter season. A lot of persons pray and fast, like myself, as well as they go to church. Some people go to Tobago to spend time with their family, and some go for whatever other reason, right? And sometimes persons may have the perspective that if you are a Christian and you're not going to church, then you really serving the Lord for real, or you're just saying that you're a Christian and you ain't really serving the Lord for real. And this is what I wanted to touch on, right? So one of the things that we need to understand, whether you are a believer or non-believer, is that you don't necessarily have to be going to church every Sunday or following the traditional way of how some people do things to say that, well, because I'm doing this, I'm a Christian. Because sometimes the same traditional things that people do, they're just doing it. But when I say meaning like going to church only on these specific times, but outside of that, they're not going to church at all. And it have some people, they ain't even going to church. Period. Like, they ain't going at all. Right? And no judgment, because at the end of the day, everybody in a different place and space in their life and whatnot, right? So I say all of that to say that, you don't, not because someone does not go to church on a traditional occasion means that they're not a Christian, right? Because what persons need to understand is that relationship is more important, and not because somebody's going to church means that they're living for the Lord. Because some people, like I said, just go to church only on specific traditional times like Christmas, Easter, New Year's, like those things, and outside of that they don't go to church, right? And like again I say, some people don't go at all. Oh my gosh, wow, y'all, I just saw a dead cat. Anyway, so don't think because somebody who is very much involved in the Lord, because because they're not going to church on a specific day, means that they're not grounded in the Lord, right? Because again, your relationship with the Lord is more important than just going to church, right? And I would say for me personally, my relationship started outside of the church, right? And it's only after talking to the Lord some more and expressing to him my desires and the things that I wanted to do, he led me to go, right? And that's the thing, like, we need to understand that the Holy Spirit is very much important in our lives, and we have to be led by the Holy Spirit, because you just don't want to go into any church. you know, you want to be led by the Holy Spirit, and you know, you're building your own personal relationship with the Lord. And going to church is important, right? It is important, and the purpose of going to church is, you know, to fellowship with other believers, right? Because these people strengthen you, they sharpen you, they edify you, and you grow, right? So I am not saying going to church on the whole is bad, but don't let anybody make you feel as though because you ain't good, you miss church on on one of the Sundays, or you don't go to church every Sunday, but you try to make it, you know, when you can throughout the year. Nothing is wrong with that. The Lord is not going to punish you. The Lord is not going to say, how dare you not go to church at all. If you know on your personal time that you spending time with the Lord, right? Don't let nobody make you feel bad for not going, right? No, some people have the perspective of, I'm not going to church because them church people fake and this and that and blah, 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 blah. We ain't even here to discuss that part, right? But have some people don't go to church at all, and they don't serve the Lord, they don't take that one-on-one time with the Lord, right? And you know, they want to judge the Christian that actually really go into church, but they mightn't go every Saturday or every Sunday or however, but they want to judge them. They're not going at all, but they want to judge the ones that going, and if they ain't go a Sunday or if they ain't go a Saturday, then you is not Christian, right? So, you know, I just wanted to align that perspective or fix that perspective of persons thinking that, well, if it is I don't do this, or if they don't do that, then that means that there's not a Christian for real, right? That's not the case. And if because you don't go to church every Sunday, or you try to go throughout the year, but it might not be as frequent as others, it does not mean that you are not a Christian, because what is more important is your relationship with the Lord. What you're doing outside of church, yes, what you do in church is important, but what you're doing outside of church, right? What you're doing in your personal time, what you're doing in your secret place, relationship is more important than wondering or feeling bad if you don't go to church one Sunday, or I don't know how many of us Sundays. Some people need to understand that they don't even know the things you have to do in order to make the time to go to church, right? And at the same time too, once you know you're making time for the Lord, whether it be home or in church, that is what is important. Again, like I said, don't let anybody make you feel bad for not going on a specific traditional time or any any other time. Once you know you're going because you say, right, I'm ready to go, and you know, I need to go and fellowship with other believers, then yeah, you do that, right? So that's just my encouragement. Again, like I said, don't let nobody make you feel bad for not going to church when there's a particular traditional time, or like 3 Sundays in a row, or 4 Sundays, 2 Sundays in a row for the month, and the other two, you know, you prioritize other things. Because what people need to understand is that, you know, we have a life outside of church, right? And the Lord knows this, right? And even in the life outside of church, the Lord is involved. Well, I would hope that we will keep the Lord involved in the life outside of church, right? So love and blessings, guys, and do take care.